Armored Core: Last Raven marks the 10-year anniversary of the first Armored Core game released by developer From Software. Hardcore mech fans will be toasting to another successful battle platform, but newbies may not have the patience or the finesse to master these weapons of mass destruction.
The Deorgan Distribution Center has been taken over by forces working for one of the warlords.
Like many a mech game, Last Raven implements a simple, generic plotline to quickly establish who you are and why you're fighting. Weapons development has led to the collapse of warring corporations, who decide to join forces against an emerging rebel faction. The ultimate fighting machine of this era is the Armored Core, and you, the pilot, are taking on missions for compensation to build the strongest and fastest machine possible. Depending on which paths of varying difficulty you take, these decisions can lead up to a half-dozen possible endings. But the exposition is nothing you'll get too heavily invested in, especially when you consider that the cinemas disappear once the game begins.
It's so quiet. Am I too late?
With a colossal killing machine at your disposal, you'll be itching to customize and equip it with literally hundreds of possible components, including weapons, boosters, and body frames. All of your mech parts and weapons are displayed in the selection menus to show what your killing machine will look like when fully loaded. You must be wary of your limited budget, as these wonderful gizmos are not free for the taking. Once you finally configured your mech, you'll be able to jump right into the novice missions and launch your quest against the opposing forces. There are over 70 total missions of varying difficulty. You can pick and choose from a select few at a time, creating your own distinctive itinerary of destruction. You're rewarded with credits as you complete each mission, and then you have to spend them on fixing up your machine. Yes, it's basically the same premise mech games have been living under for far too long. Each level presents its own challenges according to the mission objectives. For instance, you may have equipped your mech with a kick-ass arsenal of the biggest and baddest cannons for the last mission, but the next involves close quarters combat, and you'll need your laser blade. Some missions require you to travel long distances, and with your stock booster, it's going to be impossible. The varied mission objectives keep you on your toes, and your mech in the shop.
Leaving combat area.
Veteran Armored Core pilots will already be familiar with this type of planning, but for the newcomer, there's a VR arena where you can test out your movements and firearms. This helps you get used to the controls, but it does a poor job of providing you with the proper knowledge for each part. If you'd rather test your wits in one-on-one combat, there are plenty of multiplayer options available to you. Customize your mech and put it up against the computer or a friend in split-screen, network, or iLink connections. An option called Regulation allows you to choose certain items that will be restricted from play, and you can save different presets of unallowable unit combinations. From the Situation menu, you can modify the time limit, the number of computer mechs playing, and the battle setup, which determines whether it'll be every man for himself, kill the team leader, or just regular team play. Based upon a futuristic world, Armored Core's aesthetic reflects just that. From the sleek menu layout to the advanced yet gritty design of the mechs, you're transported to another world. The opening cinemas display an exquisite amount of detail, but are nowhere to be found throughout the remainder of the game. The still frames of the mail you receive to move the story forward aren't very engaging, but at least you can skip through them if you want. The explosions and the ammunition effects are satisfying, and it plays pretty fluidly. Returning Armored Core veterans will be pleased with the addition of new levels, weapons, and other basic elements in Last Raven. But for everyone else, this is the same game you've been avoiding for 10 years. Being that this is probably the last Armored Core game developed before the move to the next generation of machines, this series hasn't exactly gone out with a bang.
Enemy target approaching.